As we continue to travel through Montana, we make a stop at Fort Benton. Fort Benton is often referred to as the birthplace of Montana. It was founded in 1846 as an outpost for the American Fur Company and became the hub for the fur trade and travel throughout the northwestern United States and Canada. We also visited this informative Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center in Great Falls. It has a number of sculptures, dioramas, videos, and hands-on displays to teach you about the journey of these two famous explorers. Part of the self-guided exhibit hall's centerpiece is the two-story diorama of the portage of the Missouri River's 5 Great Falls. I can't even begin to imagine how difficult that had to be. Now, I am not much of an art enthusiast. Nevertheless, we visited the C.M. Russell Museum. Russell is the biggest name in Western art. Here was an absolutely phenomenal collection of one of the greatest Western artists. Russell's art and mementos were presented in such a way that you left with an appreciation of his talent. There were personal letters with envelopes which showed his unique pictorial storytelling. We also visited Russell's home and a replica of his log cabin studio. I would highly recommend visiting here. I was genuinely glad we visited C.M. Russell Museum because when we went to visit the state capitol in Helena, Montana, we saw one of his more famous paintings there. The artwork in this state's capitol was incredible. Historian Burnham says, "Together these works comprise one of the richest troves of State House art in the country, not just in the numbers, but also in the stories they tell." Let me feature some for you. Let's start in the rotunda, where you will find 4 large round murals depicting roles of Montana's early development. There is the trapper, the Indian chief, Montana's first people, the cowboy, and the prospector. Mounted at the top of the grand staircase beneath the stained glass barrel vault is a mural titled "Driving the Golden Spike." It is the only mural in the Capitol that was not commissioned by the state. It was given to the people of Montana by the Northern Pacific Railroad to commemorate the completion of the company's transcontinental line. On each side of the stairway is a mural. One is called "Women Build Montana Culture." This one honors the history of Montana women as community builders. It depicts women digging bitterroot, an important food source and Montana state flower, 2 women stitching a state flag, children harvesting beets, and an Indian mother and daughter beating and preparing a hide. The second is called "Women Build Montana Community." The central image depicts members of the Montana Federation of Colored Women's Clubs handing out a scholarship, supporting women's education, a woman canning fruit, which references not only the work of homemakers but also the important role of home extension agents, a telephone operator who personified clerical workers, and women as labor union members, as well as an Indian woman teaching botany. Let's go back to the grand staircase for a minute. You will notice the beautiful art glass barrel vault. It was removed and sold in the 1960s to make room for additional office space. Crazy people. The state reclaimed ownership of the art glass in 1997 and restored the barrel vault to its original home over the grand staircase between 1999 and 2000. It is so pretty. Now back to the art. In the House of Representatives is a stunning original C.M. Russell painting approximately 12 feet by 25 feet titled "Lewis and Clark Meeting Indians at Ross's Hole." It depicts an unexpected encounter between the Corps of Discovery and the Salish Indians. The painting is the largest that Russell ever painted, and it required him to raise the roof on his log cabin studio to accommodate it. In the State Chamber are 6 different paintings. Each painting is 14 feet by 18.5 feet, and keep in mind that the artists were paid as decorators and not historians. Here we have a made-up mural that honors the 1803 Louisiana Purchase. However, Napoleon Bonaparte and President Jefferson had never actually met. Opposite the Louisiana Purchase is a mural representing Custer's last battle at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Let me quickly highlight 4 other paintings. Old Fort Benton is about the American Fur Company, founded at Fort Benton. Old Fort Owen, Major John Owen purchased a mission which had closed, and he developed a popular trading post which carried his name. Then we have the prospectors at Nelson's Gulch that show 4 men performing various tasks connected to mining. The last painting is titled Three Forks of the Missouri, where Lewis and Clark reached a crisis critical to their journey. There are more art in the old Supreme Court and the old old library. I am telling you, the artwork in this capitol was spectacular, and it is worth checking out. We made a quick stop by the Three Forks of the Missouri River. Here in 1805, Lewis and Clark camped at the headwaters of the Missouri River. We felt that we had walked in their shoes for a moment. Another place Lewis and Clark journeyed is the Gates of the Mountains. We decided to take a Gates of the Mountains boat tour. It is the best way to take in the grandness of the area. A 2-hour open-air boat ride gave us the best views of the Gates. The tour takes you inside some of Montana's gorgeous scenery and imposing limestone cliffs, lovely wildlife, and some views of pictographs left by the indigenous people of the land. Spoiler alert, there are no real gates. The way you follow the river, it makes it look like the mountains are coming together or closing, or moving apart or opening up. We also learned about the 1949 Man Gulch fire, where 13 young smoke jumpers lost their lives in a fire at Man Gulch that forever changed wildfire science and safety. I can barely imagine that at the time that Lewis and Clark came through here without the river being dammed up, that the cliffs were even more dramatic than they appear to be today. Okay, today's adventure takes us to a remote, and I mean remote place named Lemhi Pass, located in the Beaverhead Mountains of the Bitterroot Range. The road says it's narrow, and we had absolutely no cell service. Had to pass through some private property, and did I mention R-E-M-O-T-E, remote? This is where Lewis wrote that he stood with a foot on each side of the rivulet and thanked his God he had lived to bestride the mighty and heretofore deemed endless Missouri. So we did the same. Lemhi Pass remains a remote mountain pass in a natural landscaping, offering daring motor vehicle travelers views to what Lewis and Clark may have witnessed on foot and horseback in 1805. We have made our way through Montana. Stay tuned for our next adventure. Remember, enjoy the journey, be kind, and share a smile.